Some believers fear money more than sin, and it shows. But let's be clear. The Bible doesn't bash the bag. Bad teaching does. Jesus didn't condemn the rich. He corrected their relationship with riches. Money isn't the issue. Misinterpreting the Bible is. The most misinterpreted verse? Mark 10:23. When Jesus said it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man enter heaven. If Jesus stopped there, you'd think rich people couldn't be saved. But he didn't stop there. So why do preachers stop teaching where Jesus didn't finish talking? The part of the story rarely mentioned in Mark 10, when the disciples were shocked. Why? Because the first person the Bible calls rich is a man of faith in Genesis 13:2. So Jesus clarified, it's not about having riches, it's about trusting riches instead of God. Then he said something more shocking. He said with man, it's impossible, but not with God. In other words, it's impossible to have a lot of wealth and a lot of faith without God. But with God, it's possible to have both. It's interesting how biblical teachers love context and clarity until the topic is currency. It's more interesting we've taken the popular scripture of Jesus saying, with God, all things are possible, which was a message about money, and we've made it about miracles. And the truth is, if you fear money, you'll always need a miracle in that area. And that's exactly the position the enemy wants you in, where you never take responsibility for your financial freedom. Here's the truth. Faith for miracles, that's passive. Just sit back and receive. But faith to create a financial future, that's active and requires us to commit to development. It grows your discipline, stretches your stewardship, and shapes your decisions. But God doesn't want you surviving by miracles. He wants you living by mastery. So you don't just pray for a breakthrough, you prepare for one. Here's the real truth. It doesn't matter if you have little or a lot. That's your choice. What matters is whether or not you've chosen to live dependent on the presence of God. That's what Mark 10's rich man sermon was about. Let me make the scripture plain. Here's what it meant. If you're going after more, if you're seeking financial freedom, if you're chasing a brighter future, it will be impossible to do it and remain spiritually grounded without God. But with God, all things are possible.